this is Molly. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Purpose, where we talk about just that. What's our purpose on this earth? Why are we even here? Well, if you've been following along with me, you know what I think. I think our only reason to be here on this earth is to show God that we love Him and we care about Him and that we will live our whole lives just for Him. And that means loving other people. Well, that sounds all nice and great, but that's the hardest thing in the world to do. And God knew it would be. So He gave us the Bible. He gave us directions to help us. And that's what we're doing. We're going through the Bible, reading these stories to try to learn from the people in the past. So last time we met, we were talking about Abraham and Sarah. And all they wanted was a baby. They'd been praying for dozens and dozens of years for a baby. Why? Well, lots of people want babies. You know, I wanted babies. But in that day and age, it was even more important to have children because your kids were who took care of you when you got old and sick. You didn't have insurance. You didn't have retirement funds. You had your kids. And it was not uncommon for people without children to just die when they got old because there was nobody to take care of them. So they'd starve to death or freeze to death or whatever because they didn't have kids. So it was important to have children to love you and take care of you when you couldn't love and take care of yourself anymore, or at least take care of yourself. So anyway, God kept promising them, I'm going to give you a baby. Don't worry about it. But they weren't seeing it. She wasn't getting pregnant. Now Sarah's way past menopause, and they know that there's no baby in their future. What's God talking about? They didn't trust Him. They didn't have faith that anything is possible for God. So they did what I would do. They went to Plan B. Plan B was for Abraham to go to Sarah's maid and have a baby with her, which is exactly what they did. And they had a son named Ishmael. Now they have a son who can take care of them, who they can hand on all their stuff to when they die. He'd be their heir. And so God came down and said, what are you doing, Abraham and Sarah? I told you to trust me. Have faith in me. And they were like, yeah, but Sarah, you know, she's past menopause. And God said, you obviously need a sign here. I'm going to give you a sign. So when every time you look at it, you're going to know I'm going to fulfill my promises. Just like He gave Noah a sign. Remember Noah with the flood and God put a rainbow in the sky after a storm so that Noah would know times are going to be hard. There will be times in your life when you just feel all alone and like the world's turned upside down, but I will always be with you. I will never leave you. I will take care of you. And He put a rainbow in a sky to remind Noah, I'm going to take care of you. I'll protect you. And so now with Abraham, He's made him a different promise. He promised Abraham lots of times that He's going to give him lots of land. Well, what's lots of land mean? It's a place to live, a place to call home. And He promised all of Abraham's descendants lots of land, which is promising all of his descendants a place to live and to call home. Heaven. We get to go to heaven and live there for all eternity. That's our home. That's our land. And then He promised Abraham lots of descendants, somebody to love him and care for him, an heir to give all of his possessions to. Jesus. Jesus is the heir. He's the one that's going to love us and take care of us and always be with us. And yeah. And then the third one is His blessings. All of His descendants will be blessed with the gift of God. So this is what He's promising Abraham, but Abraham's not seeing it. There's no baby coming. And so he's losing faith. He's losing hope. So God said, you need a sign, something that you can look at to remind you that I'm going to do what I say. But he doesn't get a nice little rainbow. He doesn't get a fluffy white cloud. Abraham has to be circumcised. at 99 years old. Not only Abraham, but Ishmael, his son with the maid, and all of the men in his household, all the male servants. So this is rough. What's circumcision? Circumcision is cutting off the male foreskin, which means it's going to hurt, and that now he's vulnerable, he's exposed, he needs to trust in God, that God's going to take care of him. And so this is the sign for Noah, or for Abraham, that God's not going to forget about him. Well, not everybody's a man. And now that Jesus has come, not everybody needs to get circumcised. But what God is really trying to tell us is we need to circumcise our heart. Our heart, not just the organ, our heart. We talk about our heart like we talk about our soul, our feelings. When you talk about the heart, it can be another way of saying your soul. And we need to circumcise the heart. We need to take away all the protective covering on it so that we can be vulnerable and trust God. Because if you're not vulnerable, you don't need God. This is too hard to understand. Let me give you an example. So in life, we all get hurt. We were not created to be mistreated, for people to be mean to us, to be unloved. We were created to be completely loved all the time. But since Adam and Eve, that's not what happens. And so when people mistreat us and they're mean to us, that goes against our very nature. When we're mean to other people, it goes against our nature. And it makes us miserable. And we don't ever want to feel that way again. So we start to put little bricks up around our heart to cover it, to protect it, because we don't want to feel that way again. Let me give you an example. So picture a 13-year-old Molly. And there's going to be a dance. First one, it's middle school, first dance ever. Everyone's so excited. That's all my friends and I can talk about. When we go to lunch that day, it's the only thing we talk about. Now I've got my eye on a couple of boys I'm hoping will ask me. And so when I leave school, flying high, butterflies in my stomach, very happy, very excited. Next day, come to school, some of my friends have been asked already. Woo, this is getting good. Go to lunch, it's all anyone can talk about. I'm so excited, can't wait for someone to ask me. The next day, nobody's asked me. More of my friends have been asked, I haven't. Now I don't have butterflies in my stomach, I'm getting that lead weight feeling in my stomach. The next day, all of my friends have been asked. And I no longer like the dance. I hate it. It's stupid. I wish they were never having it. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to hear about the dumb dance. I don't want to go to lunch and listen to everybody talk about what they're going to wear and how excited they are. I just want to pretty much crawl into a hole and die. So it's the night of the big dance, and I'm in my room all alone, and I cried my eyes out like only a 13-year-old girl who didn't get asked to the dance can cry. And I was wondering, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me, God? Why did nobody ask me to the dance? Why does nobody like me? Maybe there's something wrong with me. And so I got up and I looked in my mirror and I started to see myself completely differently. I started to notice this curly, frizzy, out of control mop on the top of my head. And I thought, well, of course nobody asked me to the dance when I look like this and have this hair. And all these freckles on my face, well, sure. And oh my gosh, my teeth, they're so crooked. Why didn't my parents get me braces? The dentist told them it would only be for cosmetics. Well, of course it's only for cosmetics. Why couldn't I have braces like my sisters and everybody else? And then I started to look at my body. Oh my gosh, my butt is so big. Of course no one asked me. And what am I wearing? I'm dressed like a 5-year-old. It's no wonder I didn't get asked. And then I started to remember back, oh, 2 weeks ago in science class, I said the dumbest thing. And in front of all the boys. It was so stupid. Such an idiot. And I started to see myself completely differently. And I knew I needed to change because I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I didn't want to feel alone and uncared for and unloved and like nobody wanted me. So I started to put little bricks around my heart to protect it, to keep me safe. And when I went back to school on Monday, I had a plan. I could have gone one of two ways. I could have gone back to school mad and angry and resentful and stupid dance, you're all idiots for going. And I could have made fun of everybody and I'm gonna make fun of you before you can make fun of me. We all know people like that. You know, I've met people who don't like me and they don't even know me. I just met you that day and you act like you don't like me? You don't even know me. They're gonna not like me before I can decide to not like them. That's their bricks around their heart. Or number two, which is what I did, I can start watching all the other girls. How do they do their hair? That's how I've got to try to do my curly frizzy mop. What are they wearing? What clothes do they have? That's what I need to start buying. Need to start begging my parents for braces. I need to listen to what the other girls are saying. How do they talk to boys? That's what I need to do. I need to start flirting a little bit. And maybe I shouldn't act like I'm so smart in class. Maybe I need to not answer questions so boys don't think I'm too smart. Or maybe I shouldn't be quite so good in sports. They may not like that. Maybe I should laugh at their jokes that are stupid. You know, I need to change myself so I can fit in so that people will like me so I don't ever have to feel this way again. I put bricks around my heart. But the horrible thing is, we keep feeling this way over and over and over. You know, today I'm 56 years old, and I still worry about my stupid crooked teeth, but I'm trying really hard to not get them fixed. Because this is like my circumcision. It's my reminder that I need to trust God. I need to run to God and trust Him. I need to ask Him to give me His love and His peace and His wisdom every time I feel like I'm not loved, because He loves me more than anybody on this planet. He loves me more than I can ever imagine, and He loves you more than you will ever know. He thinks you are the most incredible, most beautiful, most special person on the entire planet. And I have to keep reminding myself of that. No, I'm sorry, I'm crying. Because this is real stuff, you know? Life is so hard. Our only purpose is to love people, but we've never been taught how. And what happens when people don't love us? What happens when people are mean to us? We have to protect ourselves. We can't circumcise our hearts and be vulnerable, because then people are going to hurt us. And we don't want that. Well, we're going to talk next time about what to do, how we can protect ourselves, how we need to get rid of all those bricks around our heart that aren't helping anyway, so that we can live our lives entirely for God. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do. It's so, so hard. But it's our whole purpose for being here. And it's so hard. And it's what God was trying to teach Abraham. Trust me. When you feel alone and you feel like nobody cares about you, trust me. Don't put up more bricks. Don't yell at people. Don't call them names. Don't change who you are so you can fit in. Don't think that you have to have this perfect hair for people to like you. If people only like me for my hair or my straight teeth or my skinny body or whatever, well then, do I really want to hang out with them, you know? Anyway, this is tough stuff. Loving God is hard. It's not easy. Loving anybody is hard. It's not easy. And when we come back, we're going to talk about what Molly should have done when she was 13 years old. We're going to talk about what we should have been taught as little children, and we weren't, because our parents didn't know, and their parents didn't know, and their parents didn't know. I didn't teach this to my kids because I didn't know. What is the secret? What do we need to know? What's the secret to keep us from feeling like nobody cares about us, nobody loves us, and we don't fit in? That's what we're going to talk about next time. Well, I hope you all have the very best day today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.